look at some of the most influential and best-loved musicians around and talk about the significant firsts in their lives. Last week was Tom Morello, guitarist of Rage Against the Machine, Audio Slave, Prophets of Rage, the kind of Rage Public Enemy Cypress Hill supergroup, and a pretty erudite political activist himself. His new project's called the Atlas Underground, which is a new record he's done with a bunch of collaborators, including Knife Party, Big Boy, Killer Mike, Portugal the Man, Vic Mensa, Marcus Mumford, Steve Aoki, Gary Clark Jr. Wow. And it's as politically charged as you would expect from him. He's a brilliant guest, and one of the things that I talked to him about looking back was the campaign in 2009 to send their track Killing in the Name Of to Christmas #1 instead of the X Factor winner. So this campaign prompted Rage Against the Machine to reform, and they played this colossal free show in 2010 in Finsbury Park in London to celebrate the fact they did indeed get to the top spot over Christmas, breaking the sort of vice-like grip that X Factor winners had traditionally over the top spot. You were there at the gig?
Yeah, me and Big Ben Benson went. It was fantastic. Parking was a nightmare, but it was an incredible experience.
What? That's the least Rage Against the Machine. Yeah, smash the system as long as there's adequate parking.
The problem being, of course, is £6.40 an hour in this zone.
No, it was just incendiary. It wasn't quite long enough a set. That was the only complaint that I made.
What I didn't know was Tom's belief that his record label, who also looked after Simon Cowell, actively tried to stop Rage from winning the chart battle. Here's Tom on how that campaign wasn't really about the music, it was about the people and a statement of resistance.
It was a manifestation of the idea of Rage Against the Machine, wholly independent of the band or the song. And that's why we didn't, I mean, it had a tremendous amount of momentum before I got an email that something was even happening. And then we got at the end and made a little push. But the celebration of the, and it was so pure at the end, it was the most downloads of a song in the history of the UK. It was sweet because, Simon Cowell was also on Sony, which was Rage Against the Machine was on. So Sony did not return our calls or emails during the entire time. and put 0 physical albums copies in the stores during the week because they wanted us to lose. Our record company wanted us to lose because Simon Cowell was the cash cow. And just for pure people power, defeated X Factor, defeated sort of the corporate monolith that was trying to sort of suppress one of their own bands. Every penny that we made from those 580,000 that were sold that week, we gave away to charity. The show itself, we promised that it was going to be a free show. It was an absolutely free. We paid for every porta potty at that show, and it was just it was completely pure celebration of the goodness of mankind.
It was quite a good. John and Tracy Morter, I believe, were behind that campaign. Congratulations to them still. I also had to speak to Tom about the current political situation in the US and specifically Donald Trump's administration, and whether, as many American musicians that I've interviewed have stated, whether he's angry or ashamed about his current government. And interestingly, his anger isn't reserved for the current president.
I'm ashamed of that we, as a global community, have allowed the system that produced Trump to rule us for so long. I mean, he's a personally kind of horrible abomination, but he's not. Trump isn't the problem. Well, the town that I grew up in is Trump country. I grew up Democrats don't even run in the county that I grew up in, so I know Trump supporters. And I think what you have to look at is where are those tens of billions of people who voted for Obama who then voted for Trump? It's the economic system and it's the neoliberal policies of Obama and Bush and Clinton and Bush that have marginalized the working class and have enriched the 0.001% and have made economic anxiety a staple of everyone's lives, and every election they parrot the same BS and people see through it, and they thought, well, let's try this kind of liberal African-American guy because that's different than what we've been spoon-fed. And that didn't work out. There were 8 years of that. And that didn't work out. Of course, he's more erudite. He's a nicer fellow at a cocktail party than Donald Trump. And so then Trump uses the oldest trick in the book, which is divide and rule and racism. It's not the economic system problem. It's not your problem. It's the Mexicans' problem. It's the Muslims' problem. We're being threatened by all sides and from around the borders. And that works. That's the easy box to check one of the reasons why we formed Prophets of Rage, one thing from the first Rage record to this Atlas Underground record I made, is to have a megaphone to tell a different version of events. That there's this underlying system which has marginalized the people who own and control the planet don't deserve it. And they don't do it in our interest, they do it in their own interest.
Pretty articulately put, really.
You can hear the whole show, the interview with Tom on the first time up on the BBC Sounds app. And next Sunday, my first time guest is Ronnie Wood.
Whoa! Yeah. Two box fresh out of the box. They're brilliant.
Box fresh out of the box.
It's another new feature. Box fresh out of the box.
Not going to work as a catchphrase.
Not going to stick.
Nope.
That's exciting. Something to look forward to. But let's hear now the full-throated majesty of Morello's guitar. This is Rage Against the Machine and Know Your Enemy.